Alright, in this video I'm going to show you how to turn off or disable your brake pad warning light. So if you're like me and went out and got yourself a fancy European or import car, you probably have this brake warning light that comes on even though you still have 50% of your brake pads left. Well, in this video I'm going to show you how to permanently get rid of that sensor light and you'll never have to worry about it again. Disclaimer here, it's better to actually replace the sensors on your brake pads if you're doing the full brake job. But if you're responsible enough to actually check your brake pads and know when they're getting low, or if you need to diagnose a sensor, this method works pretty great. So let's grab our tools and jump right into it. First thing what you need to do is jack the car up and take the wheels off. Sometimes you can get to the sensors without taking the wheels off, but it makes the job a whole lot easier if you do. I'm not going into a bunch of details on how to jack your car up and take your wheels off because you probably shouldn't be messing with your brake sensors if you don't know how to do that. Now locate where your brake pad sensors are plugged in and unplug it. There will probably be a little tab and you'll have to take a flathead screwdriver, then push down on that tab and unplug the plug. Once unplugged, let's work on pulling the brake pads out and freeing the wires where they are attached to the caliper and other parts of the brake assembly. Technically, you can just snip the wires a few inches from the plug and right on top of the sensors, leaving the sensors in the pad. But I'm trying to do this somewhat right, so I'm going to pull the pads out and remove the sensors. First thing I gotta do is take this little slide pin bolt out, and then I'll take this clip out. Removing the pads is gonna be different from car to car, but it's all pretty much the same theory. You take the bolts and pins and clips out, then you compress the pistons on the caliper, and then slide the entire pad assembly out along with all the wires that we disconnected. Alright, so over at my workbench here, this is how this temperamental whole contraption works. So pretty much there's a known resistive value that's going through this plug and then through the sensors. So it starts at the plug, goes through the sensors, comes to this other sensor, and then back out the plug. If that known resistive value changes at all, then you get the brake pad warning lights pop on your dash. So if you change your pads and not your sensors, or if you have some crud in your plug, it's gonna change that known resistive value. Now that you've had this little electricity lesson, you can kind of see where I'm going to go. I'm going to make a little dummy plug that locks the resistive value. First thing I'm going to do is pop out these sensors. No need for those anymore. Then I'm going to take my wire cutters and snip about 3 to 4 inches down from the base of the plug. Remove all the outside tubing, strip the ends of the wire, throw a little heat shrink on, twist the wires together, hit it with some solder. Then we're going to shrink the heat shrink. Make sure that no water gets in there, and we just created ourselves a nice little closed loop dummy plug that will not change the resistive value. And the last step is to put the plug in the car. So before I do that, to make sure that there's no corrosion, I hit it with a little bit of this electronics cleaner to just clean up the plugs. Plug it in, make sure you hear a click, and now we're good to go. Because I took my pads out, I'm going to throw my pads back in, use a bunch of brake grease to make sure that all the parts are sliding around nicely and not squeaky. And that's it. So bottom line, if you want to check your brake pads periodically and you're responsible with your car maintenance and also hate those pointless warning lights, this little closed loop method is probably for you. If you're not very responsible with your car maintenance and you don't really check your brakes, then just throw some new sensors on when you're doing your brake pads. That's gonna keep you safe. Anyways, I hope this video helped you out, everybody. If it did, don't forget to like it. And if you're into these car related videos, check out my channel. Got plenty of them. Thanks for watching.